Hello, who've been here before, welcome back. If not, hi, my name is David. I make videos talking about media that I want to talk about. This is my TBR video for July. Because of different things that were happening and different books that I've gotten, I was able to fill out my slots for the books that I need to read in July pretty quickly without needing to do a TBR video with the tarot card reading that I've been doing with my boyfriend. So that's going to be put aside for now. These are the books that I know that I'm going to be reading, some of them at least, hopefully. And also, sneak preview, I will be also talking about the books that I'm going to be reading for the Summer Slasher Readathon, hosted by Isabel Reed. So hang out till the end when I talk about those books. As I've said before, there are some books that I'll be reading that are not priority, that are like I can read in between, books that I have talked about prior in a video that was revisiting books that I have not touched since like high school that I want to retouch. One of them I randomly pulled was 13 Little Envelopes by Maureen Johnson, which is about a girl whose aunt recently died, I believe, and her aunt had sent her 13 little blue envelopes, and they sent her to different places around, I believe it's Europe mostly, and I remember reading this early college. And so I wanted to revisit that. I'm going to put these here. Is that a good... Oh, the glare. There it is. And then, in no particular order, these are the main books that I want to read. We have Warrior, Princess, Assassin by... The sticker covers it. It covers it over here, too. Brigid? Camer, I believe. Is her name. And this is a book that I have to read for a book club. I got it as a library book because I wasn't entirely sure how it was going to be, but it's about a warrior, a princess, and an assassin in this fantasy kingdom. King Maddox, Princess Jory, and Asher is an assassin. They are torn between chasing betrayal and craving each other. A princess caught between duty and desire, the fearsome warrior king she's promised to, and the assassin tasked with hunting them down. This is a book club book. I am not totally excited for this, but I do know that it is, at some level, about a polyamorous relationship between these three people. And so, yeah, I mean, I have to read this for a book club. I want to say I do not like this cover, but the cover for the paperback version is a lot better, in my opinion. So if I end up enjoying this book, I know it's also at least a duology. I'll get the first book in paperback at the bookstore that I'm doing this book club at, so it'll be there. Next, if you've been here before, you know that my goal is to be able to read the entirety of the Expanse series. So continuing on for July, I'll be reading Cibola Burn by James S.A. Corey. This is after the events of the third book, Abaddon's Gate. The outer universe has been given access to the humans. And so people have started to colonize to other worlds. And that causes issues in space, and so Holden has to appear. I will say in Abaddon's Gate, in all of these books, there's like a sneak preview for the next book. Like, for example, this one's introducing the fifth book. For the fourth, in the third book, for the fourth book, this book, the preview had the epilogue and then like the first chapter. I don't like reading those 100%. Because I know I'm just going to get those eventually, so I don't want to reread something that I've already read pretty recently. But the beginning does start with Bobby, who is one of my favorite side characters in... I'm trying to remember the names. It's right here. Calvin's War. Calvin's War was my really good, and so I really liked Bobby, and so I saw that she was a point of view character here. I don't know, as far as I can tell, she is not a point of view character throughout the entire story, so that's not that fun. Bye! So far, this series has been really good, so I'm really excited to read Cibola Burn. Next, I have The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wang. I'll be reading this as a read-along with Steph over Coffee Over Apples. Thank you so much, Steph, for wanting to read this with me. I had read M.L. Wang's other book. I have it on my shelf somewhere over here, Blood Over Brighthaven. Because Steph had recommended it through her channel, she made a video about it. Go check it out. I read this book because of her, loved it, and I was, talking with her. I was like, I want to read Sword of Kaigen. I've heard a lot of good things about this book. I think she recently made a video that she got book at a book haul. I got it. We're gonna read it together. Emma Wong. I've heard a lot of good things, and I've heard a lot of good things about this book too. It's a beefy one too, and I'm really excited to read it. I should have started with this book. I should have started talking about this book. Utopia Avenue by David Mitchell is a book that I'm carrying over from my TBR from June. I was unfortunately unable to get to this book. If I was going to start this book, I would not have been able to finish or even start the third book in The Expanse. I wanted to keep on track with that, so this book took a hit. So this is probably one of the next books I'm going to be reading. David Mitchell, love David Mitchell. He's written Cloud Atlas. Of what he's written, I've read Cloud Atlas, Bone Clocks, Number 9 Dream, and The Slade House. And so another addition into the Mitchell verse. And this one's also pretty beefy. So I don't know quite what to expect about this, because this is about a group of friends in a band. The band is called Utopia Avenue, the strangest British band you've ever heard of. And this one I had chosen through the TBR of doing the tarot card readings. With, I forget what card it was, but the prompt was about family and about familial relationships. And so I just wasn't able to read this book, but I will this year, this month, finish it. Also, shout out to Rue with the Books, who inspired me to want to read this book, because this is one of his favorite books as well. Sorry, Rue, I wasn't able to read it like I told you in June, but I will be reading it early in July. And also, I know that it's pretty beefy. David Mitchell's writing tends to be a little dense, so it'll take me some time, but I also don't know what to expect from Utopia Avenue. And coming up July 4th, 4th of July, tends to be slower for me at work, so I'm planning to read The Tyrant Baru Cormorant, the third book in the Masquerade series, also pretty beefy. I got a lot of beefy books to read this month. Oopsies. And this is, I know it's going to be beefy. I know it's going to take a long time, so I want to have that extra time that no one will be there at work for July 4th to read this book. This is coming off of a Monster Baru Cormorant, where Baru Cormorant has finally found the secret society that she's trying to look for that can help her take down the Masquerade. And this is going to talk about the lengths that she will do to have revenge. And as far as I'm aware, I believe this is not a completed trilogy, or at least it's not, like, there's a fourth book coming out at some point, or maybe this is the last of the trilogy. I'm not fully sure. But I have it, and when I finish it, so I've been able, this year, I told myself I wanted to read a handful of series. I started with the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy, which I finished, at the same time that I started doing the Poppy War read-along, I was reading the Poppy War trilogy along with the read-along that was hosted on YouTube. I was every other month of the Poppy War was reading Baru Cormorant. So I finished Remembrance of Earth's Past, and when I finished that, I started Expanse, so I didn't have two overlapping sci-fi series, because that would have been crazy. And now I'm about to finish the overlapping fantasy series that I've been reading on and off, and this will be the last of that. After I finish this, I will reward myself by also finishing another. Well, okay, I also have to finish another trilogy. The third book just came out, so that is Dawn Throne, but that won't be until like later, like in 2 months, August, I want to say. There's another fantasy trilogy I have to finish, but this isn't for this month. But when I finish this trilogy, this will be the third trilogy I finish this year. When I finish this trilogy, fourth trilogy I finish this year, I'll be rewarding myself with The Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan, predicted 5-star read. So I have a lot in stake with finishing this book. Hello, Editing David here, just popping in. I completely forgot about another aspect of my TBR. I watched a video by Ivy the Greek Goddess. She has made a year-long Sapphic Bingo challenge that I wanted to participate in. It started June 1st, 2026, and it will go up and through May 30th, 2027. And it is this bingo board of book prompts or book categories about books starring Sapphic characters. There's also a hard mode, and then this bingo has like combined both. I wanted to participate in the challenge. I don't know if I will do a full board. I want to try at least doing a row. Well, a cross would be 4 books, and then a row would be 5 books. I want to do at least 5 books, and then use those prompts to help find books or fill in books or something like that. And so I wanted to start this challenge and go use it throughout the entirety of the year. Because I just talked about The Tyrant by Cormorant, I wanted to include this as an attempt for that bingo board. I don't know exactly. I'm guessing this is going to be a 5-star prediction, so that'll go on the board. And so we'll see if it is a 5-star or not. But I don't know if it is. If it's not a 5-star, does that mean I can't mark that? Or do I mark it as having read, even though like I predicted it's a 5-star, even though it isn't? I'm not fully sure about that. But I wanted to shout out Ivy for making this challenge. I'm also going to pop in a little later in the video to talk about other books that might apply as well. And then not included here physically is the book of the month pick for July. I will say, oh my god, these options for July for book of the month were kind of not that good. I ended up choosing Everything Was Beautiful and Nothing Hurt by Ben Reeves, which is about death personified trying to live in the human world, and he meets this mom and daughter who breathe life into his world. Maybe, I'm not fully sure. Looks really good. Also looks like a quick read. I think I saw it was 230 pages, which would be a good short read. And so I'll be reading that as well because I want to keep up with Book of the Month every month as it comes out. The next group of books that I'm going to read are my participation in the Summer Slasher Readathon hosted by Isabel Reads, which starts from July 24th to July 31st. And in this readathon, within this few days, we have 6 prompts of 6 different books to read. She said you could also overlap. I didn't think of that, but I have individual ones, but whatever. And these 6 different prompts are just books that you can read in theme with, a summer slasher in the middle of the year or middle of the summer, which is July. I'll link in the description below the information, the video that she put out announcing and talking about the readathon. And so really good. I decided to participate in this because at the end of this month, I will be visiting my sister in Georgia for her birthday. And so I know that I'll be going on a plane ride to Georgia. And so I have more time than usual. Based on my general schedule of reading, when I tend to read what I tend to read when, I estimate I'm able to read about 4 to 5 books. However, I've planned for 6 just in case. So we'll talk about these. The prompts, I'll read them in order as how they're listed, but I will not be reading them in that order. Don't know what order I'll be reading them, but I'll list them in that order. Yeah. So prompt number 1 is read a book with a weapon on the cover. For that, I chose Chuck Tingle's Bury Your Gaze with this bloody hammer in the cover. I've heard a lot of good things about this book, and it's about a screenwriter, I believe, is in Hollywood, and he's about to be very successful, but film executives are telling him to kill off the gay character in his movie. And he refused to do that, and now people start dying around him. So somebody is killing people because they're gay. And so I've been wanting to read Chuck Tingle for a hot minute. Because prompt 1, again, not the first book I'm gonna read, but one of the books I've chosen that I could read in this span of time. I've also tried to stay within the horror genre. I was like, this is a good chance for me to get some horror books out of the way because I've been wanting to read more horror. I've been stockpiling a bunch of horror books that I want to read. So a good chance to get some out. We have prompted to read a book featuring a slasher or a killer. I have Julie Chan is Dead by Lian Zhang. This is about Julie Chang's sister. Oh no, Julie Chang is a supermarket cashier whose twin sister, Chloe Van Heusen, is a popular influencer. Chloe disappears, or she's killed. She's killed, and Julie Chan takes over her life as her twin sister. And then Julie realizes, oh no, her sister was killed by somebody, and that killer is back to get her. And so that's a killer. The killer! Prompt 3 is read a book set in a fair, carnival, or a theme park. This one is a little difficult for me for the books that I had that I wanted to read. I ended up choosing Strangers on the Shore by Adrian Brooke. I believe this is a independently published book by Adrian Brooke, who goes by also Ren Brooke, they, them, a queer Chicagoland native now immersed in the Pacific Northwest. I heard about them because they hosted they hosted all of the Q&As for Malevolent podcast, and they write horror, it looks like, and this I believe this is a horror. If not, it's a mystery thriller. It's set in 1963 amid the tense hum of the Cold War. 5 friends and 1 stranger gather for a cruise around the Mediterranean. And so for me, a cruise is adjacent to a fair or carnival or theme park. It's basically just a fair and a theme park put together. So, and yeah, and then when they're on this cruise, it's a queer romantic thriller, or she stumbles upon a dangerous secret involving her brother and his new companion. So, family thriller, and I like the cover as well, and I wanted to read more independently published books. So, editing David back here for the Sapphic Book Challenge. Strangers on the Shore. The author is queer, Ren Brooke, and the characters seem to be queer as well. However, the main character is Wu Yuqing, and her brother is queer, Wu Tinseng, and it says his new companion, Shan Dao companion. Like, hello, that's a homosexual. I don't know if Yuqing is Sapphic herself. If she is, then this book could count. Also, again, I don't know what brick. What is the block? That's the spot in the bingo board would fit in. This is indie published. I believe there's an indie published bingo board. I don't have it in front of me right now. But if Yuking is Sapphic, then I can count this. But I don't fully know. But that's her on the cover at least. So, but I'm just saying, this is a possibility. When I do my reading wrap up for the end of the month, I will try to remember to mention my accomplishments for the Sapphic, what is it called? Yeah, year-long Sapphic Bingo Challenge. So thank you again to Ivy the Greek Goddess. Like I said, I will have her video in the description below as well, so you can check that out as well. I'm doing a lot of challenges today, this month. Prompt 4 is read a book with red on the cover. Pretty simple, pretty quick. I chose You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White. I did not quite enjoy Andrew Joseph White's other YA horror, Hell Followed With Us. Did not quite enjoy that. However, this is adult horror, so I wasn't sure what to think. I'm not sure what to think. I've heard a lot of good things about this book, but also I've heard a lot of good things about Hell Followed With Us, so I'm on the fence. I have yet to figure out, but I saw it on sale. So, and you know, red cover there, so might as well read it. I've heard some, like, compare the quality of good things I've heard about this book is very different than the quality of good things I've heard from Hell Followed With Us. So, yeah, I don't know what to think about this book, but I'm hoping to get to this book. Prompt 5, read a horror novella, manga, or graphic novel. I don't tend to read mangas or graphic novels. I feel like they move too quickly for me, and I don't consume as much. I'm not fully paying attention to graphic novels and mangas. Novellas are also pretty quick to me, but I've been starting to appreciate the appeal of novellas and how quick they are to read. So I'm reading Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson, which is also a book that was recommended to me in general by Isabel. She also read this half a year ago or more than a year ago, less than a year ago, something like that. And I bought it because she really enjoyed it. And so I wanted to read it because she highly recommends it. There were like two other horror novellas that I have. I'm like, I kind of do want to read these, but this was one of the first ones I got, so I really want to read it. And it's about a girl who goes to a farmer's market and meets another girl, and they're in love with each other now. But also, something is weird with the other girl. Like, I believe the other girl maybe is evil plant. Not really sure, but I am really excited to be able to read this. I'm gonna put you on the top because you're so small. Editing David here about the Sapphic Bingo Challenge. Bloom might be. I know. No. Well, Bloom is definitely a Sapphic book. I don't know which block it might fit. I'll have to see. There's not that many blocks for like horror, but I feel like once I read it, I'll get a better sense of what it wants to be, and then I'll be able to add that on the bingo board, maybe. And then finally, prompt 6, read a book with the blood or skull on the cover. Surprisingly, of all the other horror books that I want to read or have to read, they don't really have skulls or blood. But the one book that I want to read that was on my physical TBR that had a skull on it is The Immortal City by V.F. Aubrey, which is the second book in the Eternity Sunrise saga. I read the first book, August of the People, earlier this year. Really enjoyed it. And I got the second book, as soon as it came out, but I haven't been able to get to it. This, I feel like, would be good chance to read it. So this is one. It's not a horror; it's a sci-fi. Maybe some horror elements with like dangerous monsters and stuff, dangerous animals. But it's definitely more than anything a sci-fi. But like it has a skull on that, you know. So these are the books that I have chosen for Summer Slasher. I'm expecting to not read all of them. I expect maybe 2 to 3 of them are not going to be able to be read. However, if that happens, those books will just carry over to August instead. July, right? June, July, August, yes. I probably am going to start with Bloom or Bigger Gaze, but lower priority is probably going to be Immortal City. If I have to cut anything, it's going to be Immortal City, but we shall see how it goes. Also, waiting at the airport is going to take a long time, and some of these books you might be able to read them pretty quick. So I don't know. I have the entire week between July. What was it? Where's my notes? July 24th to July 31st. 24th. Like, I mostly read when I work, which is on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays. So that's a good chunk of that, and then July 31st also is a good chunk of that. So, yeah. So these are the books that I have chosen to read during this month. I'm really excited to read a handful of them, especially, Tyrant, Sword Kaigen. Do not like how James S.A. Corey is now the highlight here versus like the cover, the title of it. That's fine. That's fine. Maybe they stick like that for the rest of the series. I don't know. These 2 books, the Warrior Princess Assassin and 3 Little Blue Envelopes, I may be setting them up for failure in terms of I don't have that high expectations for them right now, but I'll read them still. And I might give this away or not. I don't know. And then in terms of Summer Slasher, I'm really excited to get to as much as I can for these books because I really want to. It's not my first readathon because I did the Star Wars readathon earlier this year, but the first one I actually planned the books around the readathon. So, and yeah, check out Isabel's video. Like I said, it'll be in the description that talks about the readathon if you want to experience that. There's also some other prompts like Instagram prompts and other things as well that will be in her videos. She'll talk about that. Thank you so much for watching my TBR. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. Let me know what you think. Have you read any of these books? Do you have any? Should I remove any of these books from my list? Also, sometimes that happens. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to be passionate. And I'll see you later.